Well, good morning, guys, and welcome back to Weininger Racing. Well, this is what has become of the motor for Frankenbuggy. If you watched the last couple of videos, you saw that we were trying to get this thing running, and it didn't seem to be sucking down much of the gasoline I was pouring down the carburetor. It wasn't firing. And then yesterday, I pulled the intake off and I rotated the motor, and well, I posted a short yesterday of what it looked like, but I'll do that in this video too. You guys will see that like right now. So what is going on is that there was a bunch of dirt down in the intake. Right there, you can see it got water and it got a bunch of dirt in there. And as I was rotating it without the manifold on it, you could actually see dirt being pushed out here. So my theory that the manifold was clogged up and that's why it wasn't able to draw. Well, it wasn't like a little mouse made a nest in there or anything like that, but it was pressure. So pressure from the piston coming up and actually pushing pressure into the manifold there. So, which tells me one of these valves, or two of these valves, one of them or two, is stuck open. And you can see, look at the amount of dirt they got in there. So these valves are not sealing, and I had a little bit of the same issue on this side, but not as bad. So dirt got into here too, but not as bad as this. This side actually had some rust in this cylinder here. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be cleaning these heads up, and I got to run to O'Reilly. They have valve spring compressors. I'm going to take these heads apart, clean them up, and relap them, and basically rebuild these heads real quick. So hopefully we'll get a seal on them. Now, I was contemplating, I have these dual port heads that I was thinking of doing the same, but the problem with this motor is, well, we've had some dirt in there and the piston working, so there's a little bit of, I don't want to say it's an indentation, but I have a feeling that if we throw extra fuel into these cylinders and increase the combustion and the pressure within them, it's just going to blow the bottom end out. So I'm going to keep this just with the single port, and just leave it like that. I'm not going to invest in putting a dual port setup, carburetor, manifold, all that stuff. I mean, I actually have all the parts, but see right there, we got a manifold there for the progressive Weber, but I'm just not going to go that route on this motor because I don't think it'll handle it, and I don't want to rebuild the bottom end. So I'm going to clean up these single port heads, the one that came on it, be able to assemble it and get it running relatively inexpensive, as long as I can get these valves to seat. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean these heads up, lap the valves, and hopefully get everything to seal up and get this thing running. Because Well, that is going to take a little bit of scraping, but yeah, I'll get busy scraping and maybe using a little brake cleaner, and I don't think I'll have to hit it again with the power washer. I can get these clean enough just by a little handwork. Looking better already. All right, I'm gonna get on it. Well guys, I just wanted to show you something. I started using the air nozzle to clean things, just to blow things dry. And well, if there's any question these valves were leaking, that answered it. Let's see how the intake is up. So, yeah, these heads need a valve job for sure. All right, I'm gonna get on it. Well, hey guys, I got these heads as clean as I'm gonna get them, except for the internals, of course. And I took the valves out, and so we can see here, this was the head that it didn't have any rust in the cylinder when I first got this guy. But it obviously, that guy there obviously was a foul plug. There's a little extra carbon on there than it should be. The seats, I think they're going to clean up just fine. The valves, they don't look too bad. I got some lapping compound and a little tool there to spin them and grind them. And I think I'll be able to get that cleaned up and seated no problem. This was the side that had water down in the intake port, and as you can see, they're kind of a mess. There's a little wire wheel tool that you can get for a Dremel tool. I'm gonna run to the hardware store and pick one of them up and get in there and clean some of that calcification out of there. As you see, the seats now, these seats are really gummed up too. But I think they'll grind up and clean up just fine. The valves, again, they're not that bad. So I'm not too worried about that. The seats I got to get, you can see, there's some buildup there. It's pretty nasty there, but they'll clean up. We'll be able to seat these valves up, put them back on the motor of Frankenbuggy, and we'll have a little running 40 horse there pretty quick. So I'm gonna get busy. I gotta run to the hardware store real quick, get that little tool for the Dremel tool, because I want to clean this out. Not, I mean, all the way down from the actual intake port. As you can see down in there, we got some calcification from the water, just the hard water drying up and putting its crud inside there. Want to get rid of that because I don't want that coming down into the motor later. And we'll get these heads together. We'll get them all cleaned up, grind them, and we'll have a good set of heads to put back on that little 40 horse there. So we'll see you in a bit. Well guys, I was able to get some of that out of there. So I got to reach in there maybe by hand and clean up some of that in there. But the seats, look better. Now this one has, I believe it's that one. That one's got a little ding in there. I'm curious to see how that's going to look after I grind it. Definitely a little bit of pitting on those seats, but yeah, we're going to do the best we can and put those heads back on the motor. I said it's just a 40 horse motor. It's not the one that's going to stay in that car, and but it'd be fun to, you know, play around and see what we can do with this. So anyways, I'm going to clean the other head up, and I'll bring you back when we're doing some grinding. Let's see how those the valves and the seats look after the lapping. So we'll be back. Well, hey guys, so I went through and I used the lapping compound, a little suction cup thing here. It's kind of like starting a fire. It just and I got some good surfaces on a lot of these valves here. See that there? You can see the nice new surface there. That on the valve, that's the one that goes in there. Now this one here, I wish they all turned out that nice, but they didn't. And you know, you go through the grinding process, they turn out a little bit better. But I am getting good surfaces. You can see that one's on the edge there. That one, see that seat cleaned up really nice there. I got one that is a problem though, and this is the valve that it had water in the cylinder, and you can see just the potholes on there. So I took an intake valve out of that other set of heads that I got, and I put it in here, and it has a little bit of pothole-ish stuff going on there too. I believe that motor had some water in it also, but you can see that that surface goes all the way around. That's fine, but the seat, there are sections that I wasn't able to grind down to do it, but I'm gonna hit it again right now. So let's see if we can't make that a little bit better. I'll put you guys up here so you can see the process, and hopefully we can make that one a little bit better. The valve actually isn't that bad, but let's go ahead and, so I just put a little layer of the lapping compound around. And I like to set it down there gently so it doesn't splash it out of the way there. Even by hand, go ahead and turn it. You can hear that grinding. So then, this is what I mean, it's like starting a fire. Put that little suction cup on there. And grind that down. When you pick it up again, it does suck some of the compound back down on it. Now let's see if we didn't clean that up a little bit. We got a nice surface on that valve all the way around, but the problem was the seat. So a little gap right there and right there. To really make this perfect, that seat should be ground, if not replaced. Let's hit it one more time. I'd really like to see that clean up. When this gets all dirty, you don't get a good suction. Yeah, that bigger one doesn't even. Alright. I'm afraid that's going to be as good as we can do. We got a much better grind all the way around that valve. So we did go a little bit deeper there. There's still little pits, but that's going to be as good as we get that one, I'm afraid. I mean, it's a nice surface all the way around, except where it's a little bit pitted there. Maybe it'll beef up a little carbon in there and get a good seal. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but that's as good as we're going to get it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean these up for the final cleaning, because I don't want that lapping compound floating around in there. So I got to get that all clean and put the springs back on, and these heads, they'll be going back on tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow afternoon about the same time we'll be hearing old Frankenbuggy start up. But yeah, these leaky valves were a problem, and they were the reason why this thing would not start up for those few days that I tried to get it running. So these cylinders, they're not in too bad a shape. You'd think with some the dirt that was getting in there. You can see this one here. There is a little bit of wear on the bottom there because there was actually a surface of dirt right there. And so I'll clean these cylinders out much better again tomorrow. So, like I said, I'm not building this thing to be performance. I just, it'd be fun to drive a Frankenbuggy around until we get the Subaru motor built. And, you know, 40 horse, that's not a whole lot of horsepower, but it'll get me around. Subaru is going to have a couple of 100 horsepower. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, guys, I'll bring you back in a little bit after I get these back together. Well guys, that's it for me today. We got these heads all cleaned up. We got the valves all grinded, the seats grinded. And yeah, they're looking pretty. Much better than when I started this morning. And tomorrow the plan is I'm going to put them on, assemble the rest of that motor. I'm going to do some cleanup on that motor. Boy, it's a mess. So I'll probably do a little pressure washing on that motor, get it all cleaned up after I put the heads on, because I don't want to have to mess with water on the inside. But yeah, tomorrow that motor's going to start. And so I'll be bringing that to you. That'll be awfully exciting after all the problems that I've had with that motor. Frankly, all that time I was trying to start it up, I was just sucking dirt into it, so not a good thing. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm done. Heads are ready to go on. Motor will be running tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys watching, and stay tuned tomorrow, because we'll see what kind of noise this thing will make. Have a good evening, everyone.